Okay, next is the interview for a child who is coming to join school. Shall we say UKG or LKG, or shall we say first standard? Okay. Now we will just change. She's come for admission for first standard. Okay. Let's see what they are talking. Or I can just say this is the interview for admission for admission. Okay, shall we see? Now, yes, come in. And the child enters. Okay, we will say Shrija. That's the name of the child. She enters along with her parents. Good morning. Just comes and says, good morning, madam. That's what a small child would say. Good morning. And she is asking for her name. She doesn't know her name, though the application will be on her table. She wants to check whether the child can answer to questions. Good morning. What is your name? See, this is just to test the conversational skill of the child. Even when she enters into a school for LKG or for a first standard itself, the principal expects the child to know something, to speak, to converse. Okay, so she asks her, what is your name? And Shrija replies, my name is maybe we can add one more question here. How old are you? My name is Shrija. I am 6 years old. Then the next question the principal asks is, where do you live? Who stays with you? Okay. Now the principal wants to know whether the child is capable of answering her. I live in, the child cannot give the full address and all, isn't it? I live in T Nagar or Mylapore or Santhom. My grandparents stay with me. Or she can even say my grandparents stay with us, because she is talking about her and her parents. Okay. I live in Santhom. My grandparents stay with us. Next, the principal asks, do you know to write? Three-letter words and do addition sums? Shrija answers. She is only a small child, isn't it? So she says, I know some words. Like jam, pen, sit, three-letter words, okay? Sit, bus, then the principal good. She is quite pleased with her. Good. Let me see whether you know what 9 plus 11 is. And Shrija thinks for some time. Again she says, and then she says 9 plus 11, 9 in the mind, and she says 20. Principal very smart child. Can you narrate a story? And Shrija says, yes, I know the story of the lion and the hare. Good. That's enough. You can join class 1. To the parent, she says, you can pay the fees and admit her tomorrow. Okay? Now, the child has answered so well that the principal is so happy. So she tells the parents, you can pay the fees and admit her tomorrow itself. Okay? So this is how you should train your children to answer questions when they go for an interview with the principal for admission. See, it's very common that you get transferred from one place to the other. So when your child is studying in one school, when she goes to the other school, she must be confident to face the elders and answer to their questions and all. That is why we always expect the child to answer. See, this spoken English is not only for elders, it is also for little ones. They should know how to answer. Okay, you should train them at home. So, we see here how a child called Shrija is interviewed by the principal of a school, and after she gets to know whether the child is eligible or not, only she gives the permission to admit the child. Okay, shall we see how the dialogue goes? Okay, the principal says, yes, come in, and Shrija comes and says, good morning madam, or namaste madam, she says. And the principal says, good morning, what is your name? How old are you? And Shrija says, my name is Shrija, I am 6 years old. All this the parents only should teach them how to answer. Then the principal asks, where do you live? Who stays with you? And Shrija immediately gives the answer. I live in Santhom. My grandparents stay with us. So, maybe her father's parents father's father and mother are staying with them. The principal. Next question. Do you know to write 3-letter words and do addition sums? Okay, these are the things a first standard child should know. So she asks these questions and Shrija immediately, I know some words like jam. See, these are the words that she usually uses with bread and butter. She uses jam. So immediately that came to her mind. She said, I know some words like jam, pen, J-A-M, jam, P-E-N, pen, S-I-T, sit, and B-U-S, and she goes on to think. Immediately the principal cuts her and says, good, let me see whether you know what 9 plus 11 is, whether you know what 9 plus 11 is. She is giving a bigger sum for a 6th standard child, and immediately Shrija says, so when the principal asks, let me see whether you know what 9 plus 11 is, she is giving a addition sum, and Shrija says, 9 plus 11, 9 in the mind, she starts counting now, because 9 in the mind and 10, 11, 12, 13, like that she starts counting there, and 20 she says, and principal is very, very, very happy with her. She says, very smart child, she is only 6 years old and she is going to be admitted in 1st standard, and for a child to be so smart, she is very happy. Very smart child. Can you narrate a story? She thought the child may say, oh, story, I don't know how to say and all that. But immediately Shrija says, yes, I know the story of the lion and the hare. Lion and the hare. Okay, so when she was so confident, and in case the principal had asked her to narrate also, she would have told, once upon a time there was a lion in the forest and all that. So principal said, okay, good, that's enough. You can join class 1, and she tells to the parents, you can pay the fees and admit her tomorrow. So there ends the interview. The principal is very happy with the child. She is so confident. These days children are very, very smart, isn't it? They are smarter than what we were as a child. So immediately they answer, but it all depends on how we train them only. So the principal immediately said, you can join class 1, and she told the parents, you can pay the fees and admit her tomorrow. So this is a conversation between a child who is 6 years old and she wants to be admitted in class 1, and the parents have brought her, and when the child, it's an interview for the child, the parents are not supposed to speak, only the child should speak to the principal. So this is how the interview goes.